Happy Friday, everybody. Silver Surfer 2012. Ah, man. Okay, so this week in the news, Wiener shows his wiener. Um, I mean, there are so many more bigger issues going on in the news than this crap that I just can't believe that, this surfaces to the top because of the news stories, because they know that this is the kind of kindergarten stuff that entertains us and keeps us talking and really just kind of keeps our mind off the real issues. It's disgusting to me. Meanwhile you have corporations and the mega banks around the world literally robbing and looting the entire world, and transferring all the wealth to themselves, which is really created out of thin air. If you understand the Federal Reserve System and how it works, and how every currency in the world is pinned to the dollar, and how the dollar isn't backed up by anything except for the decree of the government, of the United States government, which more and more is being slipping. S&P 500 last month, I believe, was talking about giving us a negative, or taking away our AAA rating. Moody's, just within the last week or so, had announced it as well. Guys, wake up out there. I'm just at the point where I feel like I need to alert people, based on the information that I'm hearing, based on the information that I'm gathering, not from the mainstream media, not from reality TV. I mean, my mind is wide open. If you don't stand for anything, you'll fall for anything. The mind is like a parachute. It doesn't work unless it's open. So, if you haven't taken the time yet to really understand the way our economy works, really understand what the Federal Reserve System is, really understand how it was developed back in 1913, when basically 7 or 8 of the biggest banking families of the world went to Jekyll Island, Georgia, and came up with this grand plan called the Federal Reserve System that they introduced to the United States Congress over a Christmas break. They tried pushing it through. It didn't work at first. Then they renamed it. They pushed it through again. They finally got it passed. And at that point, our dollar was as good as gold. Our dollar, and this is all part of the plan. Our dollar was linked to to gold at $35 an ounce. They had us turn in all our gold. They actually made it illegal to own gold. So every American was supposed to turn in their gold, and the sheeple, the people who follow everything that the system says, it's all well and good. We have to do what the system says because they're so plugged in. And at that point there wasn't even any television. So imagine, it was just all through print and hearsay. But everybody turned in their gold at $20 an ounce, and within a year, gold rose to $35 an ounce. So basically, everybody, all the banks and the Federal Reserve, who now held this gold, wound up making $15 an ounce. And $15 an ounce back then, when a dollar was as good as gold, was a lot of money. Okay, $15 today, our dollar is so inflated that $15 is really, a dollar is only worth 5 cents of its original value. Okay, if you understand that, I suggest you look into it a little bit so you understand that when you're holding a dollar in your pocket, you're really only holding 5 cents worth of value. The face value may say a dollar, but its purchasing power is really only 5 cents of what it was, which is why it takes 2 incomes today. 2 people working in a household. So a lot of people say, well, inflation's not bad because as things go up around us, we get paid more too. Okay. But we don't get paid at the rate that things around us are going up. That's what you need to understand. Otherwise, we'd still be able to, I'll give you an example. Mike Maloney, author of Investor's Guide to Gold and Silver, recently put out a video stating that he pulled up his father's tax returns from 1956, and his father basically grossed $9,000 for that year. Okay, his father was a manager at a corner grocery store, because they didn't have big supermarkets back then. The mother didn't work; she stayed home, raised the kids. He was able to own a house, which a house at that point was the equivalent of what he was making in a year. A house was going for about $9,000, and retire. All on $9,000 a year, which what would be considered today, the type of job he had, which would be considered today a minimum wage, maybe a little bit higher job, maybe a $10 to $15 an hour job today. Now let me ask you this: on $10, $15 an hour, your wife's not working. Can you afford a house? Even with the crash, the housing market at, let's say a median family house, I don't know, somewhere in the 200,000s right now. You're not making that kind of money working as a manager of even a big supermarket. You're not making $200,000 a year, so you can't literally buy a house. You may be able to get the house and afford it barely, but you can't. When you compare your income for the year based on the price of the house, it's just the ratio is way off from where it was back then. Now you take into consideration all the other things: gas, college tuition, food, health insurance, all these things around us that are going up at crazy rates while we fight and fight to make more dollars, is just a continuing evidence of the dollar's decline, and how we are just fighting more and more in order to get less and less. Because understand that $1,000 10 years ago can't buy you what $1,000 today can. So if you understand that, then you really need to start to understand the Federal Reserve System, how it works, and how you can protect yourself with hard assets. Okay? I haven't really tuned into the silver market all that much this week because I've been busy doing some business things. I do know that it was up to about 38, and now it's sitting around 35 and change. But I saw that all the commodities basically took a little bit of a pullback. The dollar's sitting around 74. Oil's $98 a barrel. The gold-silver ratio went from 40 ounces of silver to buy 1 ounce of gold to 44 ounces, so they're moving away from each other a little bit, which gives silver a little bit more room to close the gap. So it should come back up. Either that or gold has to come back down, unless we're going to start moving in the opposite direction, where it's going to cost 50, 60 ounces of silver to buy an ounce of gold, which I don't think that's going to happen, especially with all the information that's coming out now and how people are starting to wake up. And that's a good thing, guys, and that's one of the reasons I put these videos out, because I'm just trying to do my part on trying to wake people up, unplug them from the dog and pony show, mainstream media, and all the crap that, the Hollywood crap that we're just watching on TV, that we entertain ourselves with. I mean, I can't physically sit there and watch this stuff knowing what's going on with the world. I'm only 34 years old. I have hopefully many years left on this world, but I know that a lot of people my age and a little younger are just so wrapped up in this stuff. But it seems that at about this age, people start to wake up and start to realize what's really going on with the world. But meanwhile, you got the kids in their 20s still, who are just completely, obsessed and overtaken, and they live their lives according to these shows. They speak the language these shows dictate to them. They use the phrases and the words that are in these reality TV shows. They behave the way that they see on TV, because we learn through influence. As a kid growing up, your parents always wanted you to have good friends around you. They wanted to be careful of who you grew up with, because their influences as friends would eventually wear off on you, and that still holds true today. The stronger of the two in a relationship, in a marriage or partnership, usually winds up, rubbing off on the other part, and the other part, to a certain extent, winds up rubbing off on the stronger one too. It is a give and take type of relationship, but we literally, as humans, become who we are based on the people around us and our relationships. So if we're constantly plugged into reality TV, we're constantly watching TV, and we're being fed this information. We're literally being programmed and downloaded this information. We're being taught how to speak. We're being taught how to act. We're being taught all this stuff that is just making us into people who really don't care about real issues, who care about today, who care about dollars, who really don't understand how these dollars are even sprung into existence, or why we're even working for them, and how we're going to retire on them. I would check out Infowars.com. Give Alex Jones a listen. I mean, the amount of information he comes out with will just blow you away about the Federal Reserve System, about the 8 banking families that run the Federal Reserve System, how the Queen of England's involved, the Rothschilds, Rockefeller, Bill Gates. All these guys are really globalists, and they really think that the world belongs to them, and they treat us, and they treat the world basically as how they want it to develop over the course of the next 20, 30, 40, 50 years. They don't want individual nation states anymore. They want everything run by corporations, elitist groups, and soon, I mean, with the way robotics is revolutionizing things, and technology overall, what will they really need us for? So ask yourselves that. Already in America, we're seeing production going down, okay? And we understand that it's moving over to China and Brazil and all these upcoming third world countries. But if more and more technology, as technology advances and robotics advance, and they figure out more and more ways for this stuff to replace humans, I mean, they really don't have a need for us anymore. So, of course they want to see population control. Alright guys, that's today's video. Just wanted to put it out there for you. Make sure you're doing your research and understanding, what's going on out there, and how you can do to prepare for you and your family. Take care.